just wanted to wash my hands with both of those teams, the Warriors and the Suns, because I didn't like how they did business. So. Oh!
You're back in Texas. Does it feel like a full circle moment? You know, since college, you know, it's probably your first time living in Texas.
For sure. Yeah, it definitely is full circle. Pretty much 20 years to, almost 20 years to the day of when I like moved to Texas and went down to summer school for the first time. And I remember getting off the plane and just loving the environment and atmosphere, you know. So I feel like I adopted some of those Texas ways once I left, and always in the back of my mind, I felt like I could move down here and settle down here in Texas somewhere. So for it to be Houston, one of the biggest cities in the world, biggest cities in the country for sure, I'm excited about it.
When you walk through these halls and you see like this type of artwork with the Houston history, like what do you think about?
No, it's just a standard, a level that you want to live up to. You know, you got greats here who set the bar high for what it means to be a professional every day, but to win well on that level, you know. Being with franchises who won championships is it's a different feeling. You can feel it walking into the gym every day, you know. So looking forward to living up to that standard and trying to surpass it as well.
Does this feel similar to when you arrived in Golden State, a team that just essentially just needed you to get to the promised land?
I want to say is similar to that. You know, those guys had experience going to the finals, winning the championship before. I think this experience is with a group who hasn't had much playoff experience, is looking forward to taking that next step. It might not be straight to the championship, but us playing in meaningful games, going forward and setting ourselves up for that moment. I think, you know, we're right at the brink of that, you know, just finally being respected as one of those teams. So we got to put that work in this year.
You're somebody who's very confident and secure in your legacy, and you remind people all the time all the great things you've done. But I look back at like Kobe, like he had this chip on his shoulder where I got to win one without Shaq. Do you have that type of chip on your shoulder?
To win one
without Steph, without Golden State, with all the narratives that are out there. I know you don't care about it, but is there a part of you that has that like?
No, I can see. I'm not gonna be realistic. If it was if I went out there for the Warriors and wasn't the Finals MVP like Kobe was with Shaq, and had moments where I didn't average 30 a game or get 7, 8 assists or have 40 and hit big shots, then I would say, yeah, all right, I need to prove that I can do that on that level. But I've done that on that level, so I never looked at myself as like I never looked at Steph like Shaq and me as Kobe. You know what I'm saying? I just felt like we were our own new thing. He proved that he could play on that level, and I proved that I could play on that level at the same time. And I think that time with me and Golden State should just be wrapped up and looked at it as such. It should be no more residual from like, could you do this? Or your legacy is this because of that. And if you play a different way, it might change how that time was viewed. I'm just like, I don't want that time to be changed. I want you to appreciate what that's worth. And we done moved on from here. So, but as a fan of the game and somebody who talks the game and has that barbershop talk, yeah, if I didn't play on that level in those moments and I didn't create those moments for that team, then yeah, you could say that I want to prove that I can win without them. But I was a Finals MVP, averaging 35 a night. Like, that don't make no sense to me.
I know, like through Boardroom, I believe you guys talked a little bit about like you vetoing the trade that would have potentially brought you back there, and then you obviously had to accept coming to Houston. Like, can you talk us through the mindset of like choosing your next destination and what made Houston the spot versus, you know, you and Steph just dominated at the Olympics. So the easy thing to do would be like, let's run it back.
Mm-hmm. And I love Steph. I love hooping with Steph, and I really thought about going back to the Warriors. But there was a certain part of me that just didn't like that this last little phase of my career was going to be wherever I was going to play, that these owners was just going to work behind my back to make that decision for me. I didn't like that part of it, and I felt like I done worked my way up in this league and had to put a lot of sweat equity into my name and my game and the respect on the brand that I've created. So if you're doing business behind my back door shit like that, it just didn't sit right with me. So I just wanted to wash my hands with both of those teams, the Warriors and the Suns, because I didn't like how they did business. So I do appreciate actually the Warriors coming to me before they actually made a move and asked me did I want to be a part of it, but I just didn't like how they all formed. So I just wanted to wash my hands with that and move on. And Houston was a team that really respected me, respected what I bring to the table, and wanted to make this work. So I was excited about it.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the pieces here that are enticing to you to come play with? You got Amen, you got Jabari, Tari, Fred obviously he's hurt now, but there's a lot of pieces here. Can you talk a little bit about some of the guys and why you're excited to play with them?
Yeah, just the unique skill sets of most of the players on the team. You know, Jabari being a tall, athletic shooter who can guard and make plays. Tari being just a wild card who can create anything out of the defensive side of the ball, and his offense is growing every day. You got Amen who's freak athletic, Sengun, who's just one of the most skilled bigs I've seen. You know, so we just got unique players up and down the roster, size, length. Steven Adams, you know, Dorian, Josh Okogie, the guys that he added too. So
Uncle Jeff,
OG. Aaron Holiday. So it's so many veteran pieces mixed in with the young guys I'm excited to work with.
Udoka, Ime, you played versus him, and then he's obviously coached versus you. What from those experiences made you feel like this is a coach I would respect and love to play for?
Yeah, his play style is definitely how he coaches now. Defensive minded, tough, physical, teetered that line of like violent but being physical, you know, and he often made his opponents talk to the ref more than they wanted to, you know. So, and he does the same thing as a coach. He enforces that his guys play physical, tiptoe that line of being physical and mucking up the game and making it tough for your opponent. So he played that way, and you know, it's natural that he's gonna coach that way too. So I always respected those players. Those are the guys that usually got the toughest jobs on the floor, guarding the best players. So. You know, he just transferred that over to the sidelines.
I think like today's NBA is so important that especially stars like yourself can really connect with the coach. Mm-hmm. I saw Kyrie went on Twitch.
How Steve ended up becoming our head coach, I'll let Kay answer that, right, when he's ready. But I already had my own thoughts on how the coaching situation was gonna go.
Can you talk about the mindfulness of like the basketball minds you respect and want to be coached by, and like what exactly Kyrie was referring to?
I don't know. I don't know what Kyrie's referring to. I guess he was referring to how Steve got hired. I guess he was trying to say that I directly hired Steve Nash to become the Brooklyn Nets coach, and I think he was saying that for the simple reason that he didn't want Steve Nash as the coach. So I just think that Steve became the coach because Sean Marks and Steve had a relationship. They played together in Phoenix. Steve is a bright basketball-minded MVP. Obviously, we know what he brings to the table. And Sean thought it would be smart to bring Steve in as a coach. And at that time, I thought the same thing. Steve is Steve Nash, you know what I'm saying? I thought he was ready for that opportunity. And I definitely supported it 110% and still love all those times I spent with Steve and the work that we put in. You know, that doesn't go unnoticed. We didn't win on that level that we were supposed to, but I think every day getting to work with Steve was fun. I wish we could have had more time with that team, with Kyrie, James, and myself, but it's just life. But when it comes to the people I work with, I just value real basketball information. You know, how can you make the game easier for me? What do you see when you watch me play, and how can you simplify it for me? And I think a lot of the good coaches that I appreciate and respect try to make the game simple for all their players.
What kind of leader do you want to be on this team? I know you've always talked about leading by example and stuff, and a lot of the guys I spoke to earlier, they said losing Fred is heartbreaking because he's the vocal leader of this team. He'll obviously still be on the sideline, but does that Does that change you at all, or are you still like, hey, I've been doing this 18 years. This is...
Yeah, I've always been the guy to have a conversation with the team right before we run out on the floor, or pull my teammates to the side and tell them what I see. And so I've always been focused on the growth of my teammates and really monitoring them throughout the season and seeing how I can help, and seeing how I can help coach too. Just to piggyback off his voice, I always said the coach is the main leader on the team, and we all follow him, and our identity is built off of how he makes it, and I think he sets that culture up for us, and is on the players now who play the most minutes to enforce what he has created, so as a leader, I think it's good to not overstep your boundaries, but know your role too as well, and I try to stick to that. But I've always been as vocal. I've always been a guy that try to lead by example, but also be there, be a resource for my teammates at all times. So I'm looking forward to adding that to this new group. Like I said, my phone open, my door is open to my house. Like, I just try to be that type of teammate.